Hello there, and welcome to the newest Marvel podcast. We have a fantastic three. I'm Dean, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Ashley and Reese.
On this podcast, we will be looking at fan theories, debunking the newest trailers, and diving into all things Marvel. Please like, follow, and subscribe to all forms of our social media at TF3Pod.
Listen along on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. You can also watch along on YouTube as well. You'll find us under the name The Fantastic Three.
Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of us reviewing Moonknight. Ashley's going to start off. Ashley, what have you got written down so far? Or what's your point?
Well, I reckon we should talk about first why there was no CCTV footage of the jackal when he was fighting it. It was just literally just showing showing everything like that. So, what do you guys think?
I don't know.
I thought that was quite weird. I noticed how was it the picture or the sound went a bit fuzzled, wasn't it, when the jackal ran past?
Yeah, it done that little like effect, didn't
like
it?
the glitch. Yeah. I see that they had done that, but then I know we'll pick this up later, but I think it's only certain people that can see it. I think it's people that have got not godlike powers, but like some form of connection to that sort of world that can only see the jackal as such. Because I know you probably got it written down, but we see later on that he's you know I'm talking about the halfway through the episode where no one else can see it. I don't know. I find it quite weird. What about you, Dean?
I don't know. I liked it. I did find it weird at first, but I kind of like it because it still hides things. If it doesn't, if it shows everything to everyone, it just be the same thing. Like I think it's fun. Like you said, towards the end of the film, you see him fighting, but everyone else sees him fighting just himself. It's different. I
was thinking maybe has he gone through the CCTV footage and erased, or is there
the other thing is as well is that thing can obviously hurt people, even though they can't see him.
Yeah,
because obviously towards the end of the film, she tries to help him. Layla, is it Layla or Myla? Layla. She tries to help him, obviously, but she gets hit by him.
Yeah.
So it could obviously be thinking it might just have like a protection spell on him.
Do you reckon
or like an ancient spell where when it gets summoned, it's invisible. And the only person that can see him is the avatar for Khonshu.
Yeah.
Or
do you reckon anyone from the like Harrow's little cronies, like their little gang? Because there was a few that worked in the museum before. They could have gone back and done something.
Yeah.
Because one of the security guards and a couple of other people there before.
I reckon it's the security guard.
Yeah, because he was very odd.
I also just don't think that no one can see it because of certain reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I reckon the security guard's not letting he knows something. And the fact that he keeps on calling him like Scott and that as well. What is there a reason that he keeps calling him Scott?
I think that's because he's quite a very socially awkward person, so he doesn't.
They might not even know his name.
Yeah, I think that's because he's very socially awkward. Stephen Grant looks quite a socially awkward person.
Yeah, well, he is.
He keeps himself to himself, and I don't think there's anything to look into for that. I don't know. It could be, but I really think that's just down to the fact of that he's just keeps himself to himself, and he's just a bit of a loner. He talks. He says, didn't he? He's only got his one friend is his Gus, the goldfish.
Yeah.
There's also what was it? I've forgotten it now. Actually, carry on. I've actually forgotten it. I'll come back to it.
Okay. I know. I'm going to say speaking of other friends in that he's got the Gold Man. We saw more of the Gold Man, and he seemed to have a reaction when Stephen said that he needs to go and investigate and do a bit of digging himself, and he gave him a hug. He sort of looked a little bit like he knew something. Is he going to find something out?
You reckon the Gold Man's Mephisto?
Could be. But he did turn around and say to him, he goes, "Am I obsessed, possessed by a demon?"
Yeah. Well, there it is. There's the hint.
That gold guy in the comics, he doesn't. because in the credits of that, the gold guy is credited as Crawley, and in the comics, in the Moonknight comics, Crawley is a homeless man who works as an informant for Moonknight. So I don't know if they're going to do the same.
Well, it makes sense because it makes sense because Stephen pretty much sees him every day, every night after work, and he always talks about his day.
Yeah,
so it makes sense because then he might be like, right, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
He might even be the one sending him the bloody cards.
Postcards.
To be fair, that wouldn't make any sense because he wouldn't be going anywhere.
No,
he just sits on the bench. So that's
I just thought it was very weird when he
connection there.
Yeah, I just thought it was very weird when he gave him the hug and he sort of like, he looked a bit, maybe it was just an awkward like, oh, he's touching me, but then at the same time it was sort of like his face just looked like a sort of like a nervous sort of my like he's going, and then it was to the lockup, wasn't it? Which, talking about the lockup, the QR code on, was it number 43? That had if you scanned it, it took you to the Marvel website, and it was the Werewolf by Night comic, and you can read along with it.
I like that feature. I think it's a really cool feature for people who like Easter eggs and like to take snippets of things. I really like this feature because obviously we got it last week when it was in the museum wall.
Yeah,
when he took the kid, didn't he, about the chewing the gum? He took her past that wall and it was on there. I like it. I think it's a really cool feature, especially because Moon Knight's very unknown. So he's very unknown to most people, or some people. Sorry. So I think it's a really.
Go and look up.
He knew where he was. The other guy knew him obviously as well, though, because he knew obviously when he was like, "Have you got this for this?" And he was like, "Yeah, I know."
I watched that at the storage locker.
Yeah,
because he said he was going around to different. He was going around to different units with the card, wasn't he? Going,
trying to get in.
Trying to get in. He was like, "What's the name?" He was like, "Mark." He was like, "I have got a surname, but I'm Mark." And then the guy was like, "Oh, I don't forget a face, especially not yours." So Mark
goes there a lot,
kind of a relationship with him, or goes there a lot. So the fact that the security guys know him, like the office guy, desk man, knew him by face, which I thought was quite cool.
Mm-hmm. And then when we get in there,
I was just saying, I do really think that the QR code is a really nice touch.
Yeah, no,
it'd be interesting to see where it pops up next week.
Yeah.
How many episodes are there?
Side of a pyramid. Huh?
I forgot about that.
Six.
You think they've got to try and get like 6 QR codes hidden in there that's like not going to be like.
We're only 2 episodes away from the big. The 4th episode's always the big.
The big reveal
on these series, so I'm expecting something good on them ones. Complete.
And then
fast tracking to 4 episodes in, but
and then when we get into the storage locker, he finds the duffel bag with all the money, the passports, all the fake ID, and then he finds the.
I keep forgetting what it's called.
Scarab.
The scarab, which we find out, which is the map to
Amit's tomb.
Oh, that's it, Amit's tomb.
Yeah,
that's the map. Because he said it at first, and he goes, "You're not a compass."
Yeah.
So you're not going north, which is a good.
It was the fact when he opened that duffel bag up. I think it was just a sign to Stephen that it was like, I'm actually not. There is something now. I'm not dreaming. I'm not making all this up. He's like, wait, who am I? What is in me? What is it? I do like the fact that the first bit of money he pulled out was yen. I think it was yen. It was Chinese yen, which little link to the 10 rings. Which little link to the 10 rings, which I can see as well. I think that's quite cool. Yeah. I can imagine someone in Harrow's gang having links to
Mandarin connections.
Mandarin connections.
But it does make sense, doesn't it? Because even when he says it, he goes, "We speak Mandarin."
Yeah.
And then, but after that, after we see him with the thingy, we see Mark for the first time in the episode.
Yeah,
he's telling him to stay away, don't get involved. Just leave.
He was saying about Lila as well, wasn't it? He was like, stay away because I don't want her to get hurt. Because he was like, they'll come for Lila or they'll come for her. And obviously Stephen was something like that. I'm certain it's something like that. They'll come for her or he'll come for her.
He's like, I need to show her this, and he's like, yeah, but if she sees this,
that's That's
Oh, no,
when.
that's in the.
That's in a minute. That's after this.
Oh yeah, that's in the flat.
Yeah, that's after this. But yeah, no, he says, and then he's going to the police. Well, he says he's going to go to the police and put himself, or whatever it is, put himself in. So he's incarcerated, so he can't do any of this anymore. And then when he's running away, good old Khonshu comes out to chase him down.
I like that clip of the long hallway. That build,
Yeah,
I must admit, I was
No,
expecting him not to come in stages like that. I was expecting it to, because when they first saw him and then he shot out of action, I was expecting him to be there right in your face like a bit of a jump, but it didn't. It came in stages. I just think it's really cool. It's really different. Everything about this series so far is so different, and I think it's so
wacky.
it's just so good.
It's got Deadpool vibes.
Good.
It's got a bit of everything.
Just got everything. Everything I think it's so good. I must admit though, I did like the fact that when he was in that storage locker, that Mark was talking to him through the reflection of the gun.
Yeah, that was
like, my only
so it just
way
proves
out
that he
could also
and
be.
And the fact that you only saw his eyes as well.
It's good. It's good. I just think it's so cool. So every time you're a reflection, you know that you could potentially see.
And then you get an up close and personal look of Khonshu as well.
Yeah,
that's a good scene. Shows you he's got no neck.
What a dirty
nothing.
boy!
Yeah, innit?
He looks like he's got war wounds though. Some war wounds. Looks like he's got a bit of war wounds on him, which I think is. I don't know if we will see it. I'm hoping we will. No. But that was really
nice,
close and personal look, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good, especially if you don't know who he is and you've never seen him. It's good to finally see what he looks like. And then he runs out, gets hit by a bike, and conveniently, it's
his wife.
Yeah, it's his wife.
Yeah, it's his wife who he doesn't.
She hasn't seen him for months.
Was like, Mark, where have you been? And he was like,
I don't know. He tried being Mark, didn't he?
Yeah, I found that quite strange. Though.
If he's socially awkward, doesn't talk to anyone, he obviously wants a girlfriend, and he's just showing that he's got a wife.
Yeah,
that's why
she also thought that he got in contact because he turned the phone on again. He just turned that phone on because he found it.
No, yeah.
And
then he says, and then that's why he's so awkward when he hugs her. He's so like jittery because he doesn't.
Well, he's like clutching on as well. Yeah, she was like, "You feel like you're right." Like she said something about like you're riding a horse or something. And she was like a Victorian horse or something. She said, and then that's when she was like, "We married." She was like, "I'm your wife," and he was like, "We're married." Wait, what? And then she keeps going like, "Drop the act." I thought that was quite. And then she stopped with the accent. And then I liked it when they came into his flat though, and you could see Mark's reflection before Stephen even walked in the room.
in the fish tank.
Well, in the fish tank. Well, it was before Stephen.
I didn't even notice that at first.
It was before Stephen walked in the room. I was sitting there thinking, so good.
I didn't even notice it. I thought it was Stephen's reflection, but it was Mark in the fish tank, wasn't it?
Well, it was the fact that you saw him before he walked in the room.
Yeah.
So like Mark tried to get to look at Layla, I'm not sure. Layla, before he even got into the room, he wanted to see if she was all right. So Mark clearly does feel for like Layla or Lila, whatever it is. Yeah. I must admit,
I think he does. It's just the problem of getting everyone else involved and people dying.
He's just trying to save her, and he's just trying to help her, which we find out later.
We find out he doesn't want her involved.
But then we find out the reason later on in the episode. We find out the reason at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously after that, he goes to show her, doesn't he? Everything, because he's like, I'm gonna show her, and then Mark's like, don't show her, and then as soon as he's about to show her, he goes, what was it? If you tell her she's gonna die, or she's gonna
she's gonna get hurt, or people are gonna come after her, wouldn't it? Yeah. And one thing I did like, quick random cut though, is like when it's completely random, it's not Marvel related at all, but where her poet was also Stephen's favourite poet.
Oh yeah.
So like they
and she's trying to read all the.
It was, I was reading in French, and then Stephen Stephen clearly he's vibing with this lady already. He's only just met her because Mark's in there somewhere trying to like get through to the things that Layla like doing. So no, Stephen likes doing it.
Yeah.
And then obviously she does hit him with the divorce notice, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And he was
And
like,
then he's
I
like, I would never
want to
divorce you.
Yeah, I found that quite weird because obviously, was that Mark talking there, do you reckon?
No,
Or Stephen?
No, that's Stephen. Mark can only come
But
out
no,
if
but-
Stephen summons him.
I know, but do you
No,
not find
because
it weird
Mark,
that Stephen
if
said
it's
that?
Stephen saying it because he wouldn't. If Stephen
No,
was,
true.
if that was Stephen, Stephen would never think because everything to Stephen, her to him, everything about her is perfect. They're the same poet. They like the same interests. They've got
Yeah,
all this and all,
yeah.
but he
And then
wouldn't
she forces her way into the bag as well, didn't she? Because he was like, I don't want you to show it. And then it was a scarab because then they said like, what was it? They were saying she was like she wanted it, or she was like, oh, you stole this or something, wasn't it? She couldn't believe that he had the scarab.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what's the deal with
stole
the
it and ran
scarab. We
away,
know what
probably.
it does,
Yeah.
but I want to see like the reasoning behind. What happens after that, Ash?
It was when he got arrested. Well, when he got arrested by
Even
the,
that's very sus because
They're scrolls.
you reckon?
I'm telling you, they're scrolls.
Yeah, but why would
They
he be
were
working for him?
Scrolls are everywhere. Secret Invasions in a couple of in a year's time.
True.
Scrolls are everywhere. They
Yeah.
were so suspect. Even
Well,
when
it
they
was
went
just
back to the
random.
base, even when they went back to Harrow's base,
like they were human, did they?
It was just
They're
well
scrolls.
random.
They were
Yeah,
scrolls.
they just
I'm
looked a
telling you,
bit
they
like,
were
even the way
weird.
they would pick out, they were like, what's this? Like the pyramid. It's obviously a pyramid. If you were human, you'd know that was a paperweight.
Did you see that? Did you see their names as well? So they were Officer Kennedy and something else, but it was the middle names of JFK. Like it was just so random, so random. You know, like
The hell?
it was just. I'm telling you, they're scrolls. I'm telling you, they are scrolls.
I don't understand how they found him because obviously.
Well, because the doctors, when they went to the doctor, not pressing charges.
Well, that wasn't the doctor. That was the museum, and they said they weren't pressing charges. That's why he says at the door. Oh,
Yeah,
they said they
that's
wasn't going
it,
to press
sorry, yeah.
charges, and he's
Yeah, they
like,
weren't,
"Oh,
yeah,
that's it, yeah.
we're not here
So I
about
don't
that."
understand why they came.
But then they weren't
yeah.
there about that. They were about her.
Yeah,
Because they were
then
looking
like,
for
they were
her.
hunting for her. They didn't really care about him, did they? They were sort of like, they were straight away, is someone else here with you?
And then they check his bag
So-
and they find all the stuff. But then that still makes no sense as to why they're taking it there.
Yeah.
No, I just don't.
No, I agree.
A bit sus.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were definitely following her, weren't they? And I think they've been following him since. I reckon we might see in a future clip where like they've been following him for a while to see if they lead him to Layla. Because obviously Arthur Harrow, the villain or the gang leader, clearly knows something about. They clearly want Lila for something, or Lila, sorry. They clearly want her for something. I just think I'm telling you, they're scrolls.
Then you see-
Secret Invasion's coming up. We need to see some more scrolls.
Yeah, we probably will. We probably will. And then you see him in
think
the
we
car,
will.
in the cop car, and he's getting taken. But then this is where you see the dark side of Mark Spector. Killed 9 people, mercenary.
Yeah.
Not great.
I don't reckon that was him.
It probably was.
I don't know.
Like he said, it does anything for Khonshu.
Yeah, but I don't.
And he never denied it.
But I think that was before he was Khonshu's avatar. I think that's why when in the comics, which we're not getting direct links to like everything in the comics. We know that they just take little snips, but in the comics, he has like a gunfight with some like mercenaries and other mercenaries and agents and all that. And when he gets shot and when he's like dying, that's when Khonshu gives him the gift of staying alive if you become his avatar. So I reckon we could see something like that. I reckon there's a lot. I don't think Mark killed them people. He might kill some of them, but I just don't think
Not all of them.
he killed. Yeah, I just think there's a bit more than that. But Stephen seemed shocked, didn't he, when he said like we've killed that many? He was like, "What? Oh, he was,
Well,
who
yeah,
am
it's
I?"
not him, is it? That's not him.
He was like, "Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah, absolutely." What you got, Ash? What's the next pit?
It was the bit of the fight, wasn't it? The bit when he had the fight with the
Nope.
jackal.
No.
Or with a miss.
Completely missed it. He's sitting in the cop car and he's talking to trying to get out because they get out, walk out, and he's trying to get he's trying to get out. So he talks to the girl that's playing basketball.
Yeah.
And
she's got the.
he's
Well,
saying,
she goes,
he's saying, let me out, help me
Scales on
escape,
her
get me.
head.
I've been
Yeah.
kidnapped. And then she notices the scale or the sign on her wrist.
Yeah.
And then
Scales, yeah.
he looks up and looks into the mirror above the cop car, and he sees Mark. Mark's telling him
Mark
to
again.
take over, let him take over so they can get out of this situation. And he's like, I'm never letting you control me again
Never let
because
you
of
do him again.
because of what you
Yeah.
did. I'm gonna like and all this stuff, and then
He's like, I saw what you did to those people.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost as if like.
and then he
it's
gets
almost
then
as
he
if like they
gets
know.
thingy come out.
Yeah, it's almost as if like they know what he's done, and to keep, they probably know that Stephen's gonna sort of like, as he says, I'm never letting you take over, blah blah blah, and all that. And you probably find there's sort of, what's the word? Like sort of like manipulating Stephen, making up false spins that he's done, so then Stephen doesn't give control over to him. So then he's sort of like, I'm not letting you do it because of what you did, and obviously they get what they want, that he's not like been able to be, let out. That makes
I
sense.
did like Harrow's comment when he was like, no wonder the scales didn't balance with all them voices in your head. Like he knows that Stephen's got voices in his head. He knows about his multiple personas. I like that. I think that's a really, and then he's like, I'm curious. Why do you think Khonshu chose you as his avatar? He was like, is it because because your mind will be broken so easy, or is it all was you already broken?
Yeah.
And then Stephen's like, no, I'm not broken. It was very. He's like, I just need some help, maybe. And I like that. I think that was the sort of the ploy to the audience is like, no, I am normal. I'm just different.
Yeah.
I'm normal. I'm just different. And I like that. But then that's also a sign to people like who currently who suffer with this disorder or this. It was like they're still people. They're not broken. They're not different in any way. They're just different in ways to other people. But they're not broken. They're not. Then I like that. I think that was a touch from like that was a touch basically saying, we're still normal people. Treat people the same. Yeah.
I'm
not broken.
nothing wrong
It was
with
just a comment. Different. I'm not broken. I just need some help, and that's simply that is all they needed to do. That's all they needed to do, and I like that.
And then we get to the bit where he says about them
also,
talking Mandarin.
Do you reckon can he hear? Well, because he was saying when Khonshu was like saying stuff, he was sort of like repeating him and saying like he can only do like small amounts a day, like he can do like a bit of gust of wind and all that, and that's all he can do. Do you reckon he can actually hear him? Because he said, "Can you hear him?" And he goes, "Not anymore." But do you reckon he still can?
No, I think that's because he was his avatar. Because Harrow was his avatar. He was like Khonshu probably used to say the same
thing. Yeah,
he was like, I used to say the same things to me. So I think that's. Yeah, I did like that bit though when he's in the camp. Is like we speak some Mandarin as well. I must admit, I did get some like I thought we would maybe see someone from the Ten Rings or even see like the Ten Rings symbol. I like that bit.
It's probably hidden.
And then you see
it's probably hidden around there somewhere.
Khonshu sitting on top of, I think he's sitting on the
roof.
Roof.
Did you not think though he looks really defeated in that?
Yeah,
because he's like, well, this person's not listening to me. Mark promised me. It's
just a very weird situation because he's like,
he just seems
he's just a god that he's just
stroppy boy.
Yeah, he is.
He looks like a stroppy kid, doesn't he?
He's not getting his own way.
I can't do anything, so I'm going to blow the wind.
Yeah, he's not getting his own way, so he's just going mad.
Well, he said, didn't he? Didn't he say he acts like? He said he acts like a child, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Yes. Yeah, he did say he acts like a child.
I just think it's really cool as well because it was like he's saying things. He's like, I know what he's saying, and he's telling you to do this. He's like, break my neck. He's telling me to break my neck, isn't he? He's telling me to kill you, isn't it? And it was just. But what I like the most is that Khonshu at the minute doesn't seem like he can do anything. He can't physically hurt a person.
No.
He is just a what's presence. The word? He is just a presence. Yeah, he's just a presence at the minute with an image. He's not in a physical godlike like Odin is a god. As where if you upset Odin, Odin's coming down with you with all the Asgardians. Whereas Khonshu's a god. Granted, we know he's been pushed aside, but he can't do anything unless he tells Mark, right now, go and hurt that person. I like that. I just feel like that is going to be the symbol of the show. What are you going to do to me? You can't do anything.
And then we get is I'm sorry.
No, it's just carry on. I was just talking. No, it's fine.
No, you carry on.
was going to say I like the fact that when I was in the area eating like lunch or dinner, the lentil soup, and he was like, it just looked so cult. Like they all looked fixated on Harrow's belief. So I'd like to see maybe.
Well, they said, didn't they, that it was the most crime-ridden bit in the city, wasn't it? And now we don't lock our doors at night and all stuff like that. So it's very sort of like they've hypnotized them. And they're all in like a trance.
When they're sitting down for the soup and it, he says, doesn't he? Goes, before you, I was the fist of vengeance.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and goes, Mark's funny. Mark's quite funny. He goes, I'm nothing. I was saying about a little American guy living in my body or something.
Yeah. I've got a little American man living in my body. I like that.
That was quite funny. Cool. Yeah.
Good.
And then it starts to get a bit heated.
Well, they want the scarab, didn't they? Because he's like, right, you need to give me the scarab. And one thing I did like is he kept saying, Amit will erase the path of evil and change it with good or something like that. I just, so far, even though...
Sounds a bit like Thanos.
Sounds a bit like Hydra. Very Hydra.
It probably is.
As well.
Wouldn't surprise me. They spent Mandarin.
Complete, like, change up to the first episode. That castle in the Alps. Last time we was in the Alps was at Red Skull's castle. That was also in the Alps. So we can know...
Dr. Doom.
He had some dodgy stuff inside that castle.
It's Dr. Doom.
You know, I'm telling you, that's. Do you reckon? I reckon.
It's Doom.
Yeah, I reckon. Definitely.
Lived in a castle in the comics.
I reckon he might take over that castle in the Alps. Yeah, definitely. No.
The thing we forgot to say about is the fact that this is a big thing. I literally just forgot about it, thought about it because of that. When he's checking the passport or whatever it is, he didn't get blipped.
He didn't get blipped. No, he didn't get blipped.
No, I forgot about that. Around. Yeah, he's been around it during the blip. If it's set in that timeline, which we think it is.
I'm very surprised they've not mentioned it yet. Must admit. Very surprised they've not mentioned it yet. I must admit, it's quite a thing.
It's a big thing to ignore.
Miss out on. Yeah. Which I know that the director said he doesn't want to directly link all the other MCU stuff in straight away like that. But that's just a tease. I'm telling you, there's going to be someone either in episode 4 or episode 6. There's going to be.
I reckon it's going to be. I was going to say it'll be Blade.
You're going to see Blade.
I think they'll set up the Midnight Suns.
Because Blade's going to. I'm telling you now, Blade. You're going to see Blade going around now, and every end credit or every last cut, he's going to go around collecting the Midnight Suns. He's going to team them up. That is what Blade.
I even think you might even see Daredevil. I don't know why.
I think we're going to see Daredevil and She-Hulk. I think that's when we get.
Well, it was rumored that Hulk was meant to be making it.
Have you seen
Mark Ruffalo was spotted on set when they were filming it. When they were filming Moon Knight, he was spotted taking a picture with.
But so was Thingy.
So William Dafoe.
Yeah, William Dafoe was on there as well.
Did you see that? But then, did you hear why he was there? Apparently, it was because obviously he plays 2 characters so well as one man. So he plays obviously Green Goblin and obviously what's his name? Oh my god, mind blank.
Norman.
He plays Norman. Yeah, that's sorry. Whoa, he plays Norman, and then he plays Green Goblin so well, and it's 2 different people talking in his head. So they reckon that he was talking to Oscar Isaac, who plays Moon Knight, of how to portray the character so well, and I think that's so cool. That makes sense. Cool. Yeah.
Could you imagine if old? I know it's a massive stretch for them to do it, and I don't think they would. But could you imagine if just like you just see Norman Osborn like just running past, and then he just says, "What are you going?" He goes, "I'm trying to find." Or he's like, "Look," and he just ran. I know they would never do it.
It's different timeline. We know it's a different timeline. They went back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they went back, didn't they? And then Lila turns up, didn't she? Cutting back into the episode, Lila turns up with a scarab, and Harrow's like, you couldn't possibly understand the power that you're holding. So that scarab is clearly, we know it's the path to Amit's tomb, but I'm telling you, there is something more with that scarab that is just, is just so vital to Harrow's plans and his. And she keeps saying to him, summon the soup. And he was like, summon the soup? She was like, no, summon the soup. And that was just so cool. So cool. And then he releases the jackal from out of the ground. That was really cool, and I'd love to know where on earth that jackal's from with that power, that spell that he done.
It's
very Doctor Strange-esque.
It looks like one of the stones. Is it the Power Stone? It looks like the Power Stone. It's obviously not the Power Stone because it's teleporting.
No, but I know what you mean though. But it looks very like.
It looks like a portal
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It looks very, it looks very strange, Doctor Strange-esque. Where he. I just think that it
Yeah.
just looked like dark magic. It looked like Agatha when Agatha does her dark
Oh,
magic.
that's true.
It looked
Yeah.
like that.
No. Yeah.
It looked like that, and I thought that was so cool. And then you see the hands of the jackal claw up, and then they start running, and they start bolting, and they run, and Lila keeps saying, "You need to summon the suit. You need to summon the suit." I've noticed, no, you didn't hear much when they were waiting for him to summon the suit. Mark didn't have no say. It was just her talking to Stephen, going, "Look, your name's Mark. Bring it out." And she was like, "I've seen it. I've seen it." And then Mark was like one thing. He was like, "Mark, let me in, Stephen. Let me in." Because then he kept saying, "I'm going to die in an evil magician's lair," didn't he? He kept saying something like that. I thought it was quite cool.
Yeah. And then obviously he doesn't summon the suit. Or he does.
No. Well, as he's falling, he summons a suit.
Because he hits the thing, doesn't he?
He summons a suave 3-piece suit that he might have bought from a shop, but
and then he does his Superman pose as he flies and falls to the floor, and then falls over.
It was very
very
Deadpool.
landing.
Very Deadpool.
It was very Natasha Black Widow pose, isn't it? It's the flicking your hair back, landing with one arm out. That was. It's very different, obviously, to the comics. In the comics, Mr. Knight, which was who he summoned, was a detective. I don't think we're going to see a much detective side from him. I think that's just going to be Stephen's persona of the suit. But I like it because he was still strong. He ripped the bumper off that car when they were fighting the jackal. He's still strong. And then obviously no one could see it, so he looked like he was fighting himself. Layla didn't really understand what he was fighting until she hit it over the head with a bottle, didn't she?
Yeah.
And then she saw, she could see the outline as such of the jackal.
She stabbed it in the back, didn't she?
That's it. She stabbed it. Sorry, yeah.
Then he ripped it out of its.
Yeah, and then I did like the bit where he was like, when Mark was like, "I told you to summon a suit," and Stephen was like, "You told me to summon a suit," and he was like, "Yeah, not the ceremonial Colonel Saunders, like the KFC."
Yeah.
I said, "That was so good." And then he pulls out his batons as well. That was good. That little poles. That was very Deadpool-esque as well, because Deadpool's got the
looked like Deadpool.
Got the poles. Yeah, it did. It's so cool. And then he does his big punch, didn't he, Ash? What was he?
Oh, yeah, he punches, doesn't he?
I can't remember what it is now. Was it float like a butterfly, sting like a bee? My name's Stephen with a V.
Yeah, and then he punches him, doesn't he? Wagwan.
Which is a Muhammad Ali quote, isn't it?
Yeah.
But obviously without the Stephen with a B and Wagwan.
Wagwan. But it's really British, I mean, when you see him fighting and that, it's just so British, I mean, even the way he just moves around when he's like that, and he's just like bobbing around, that it's just so British.
I did notice they kept saying bruv a lot. Did you notice that episode? They kept going bruv.
Yeah.
They kept saying bruv. Like they kept using a lot of slang.
Yeah, and at the beginning when he was like, when he was telling them about the security thing at the beginning, he was like, bruv, this is going to blow your mind. Just make sure you're prepared, bruv. And he's like, fast forward and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was really good. And then it was obviously Mark was like, Stephen, you're not going to defeat it. Let me summon the suit.
And then he's like, kind of gives in, doesn't he?
He was like, he just sort of says,
fine.
Yeah, he does. He gives in. He just, do you know what? You take over.
You take over. You do this. I've had my bit of fun. Yeah.
And then he runs away from the jackal, which I find cool because I think
this is a very good visual scene.
The effects here are unreal. Quality. Chasing through the moons, the reflection of the moon on the puddles, on the glasses,
on the rooftops, and then
that was so
move to put him down, go straight onto the church axe or the church thing coming out the
fire of the church,
straight down, killed it, done.
The effects though on that clip, I'm telling you, they were some of the best we've seen in Marvel. They were so good, so good. And then we obviously see Khonshu talking, and he was saying,
he realizes Mark realizes he hasn't got the thingy anymore.
The scarab, yeah, because then that's when Khonshu says Harrow has it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He says that
and
Harrow's
then
got it.
Layla sees him pick it up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. One thing I did notice that we now realise why Mark doesn't want Layla involved, and that is because Khonshu says if you can't be Moonknight, she is the next one. And there are some comics of female Moonknight portrayers in the comics. You get, I think it was Nightshade is one of them. I know in one of them, Ramona Renslayer's got something to do with Moon Knight as well. The one from Loki, the one of the time police. I forgot the exact word of it. But like that was really cool. So we finally see what as well why Mark doesn't want Layla involved, and because he doesn't want to hurt her, he doesn't want the voice of Khonshu inside her head, and I think that is so cool.
Then we see the bit
though. With the glass, you take it over from there because I think that's a mate. That was so good. Like,
he sees Stephen in the glass, doesn't he? It's the first time we see Stephen as a reflection, and Stephen feels trapped. Doesn't like it. He's on his own. Doesn't like it, which is quite different considering on the outside he doesn't mind being on his own, doesn't mind being isolated, but when it's in that kind of way, he's like. He's isolated, and then you get the first swear word because he swears when he's kicking because Stephen wants him out. Stephen wants to be out, and and Mark's just losing it, and he's kicking the.
That's the MCU's first F-bomb, isn't it?
Yeah, kicking and smashing the mirror, or whatever it was, the glass, and then he starts swearing about it, and then we get the next bit is obviously when he's
wakes up in Egypt.
Wakes up and he's in Egypt, but we see Stephen in the glass and we see Mark sitting on the floor. Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next.
I think the next two episodes are just going to be Mark.
Yeah.
Or at least the next episode's going to be very Mark, and I think the next episode's going to be flashbacks. Flashback here, flashback there.
That's what I think.
Mark, flashback. I don't think we're going to see much of
Fill in the gaps of what he's because they said this has been going on for months. Because she said to him, Layla Turner said to him, "I haven't seen you for months. Where have you been?" So obviously you've got all those months that we've got to see that he's very unaware of.
Yeah.
And all that, like how long was he Mark for? Like how many months was he Mark for in like one period of time?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think it was quality. No, I think it was quality. I think it was a really good show, and it was really good.
Interesting. I was going to say that's the one thing I thought it was really good before we finished. I thought it was just really good.
Yeah. Visually good. Yeah.
I think next week's and the week after will be the main sort of that's the main the main big episodes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that is it, isn't it? That is it for our episode 2 Moon Knight reaction. Come back next week for episode 3 as well. That I'm looking forward to episode 3. That'll be another good one. Ash, do you want to finish up from here and send it away?
Yeah, obviously follow us on all of our socials and everything, and on Spotify and Apple and TikTok and YouTube. And then we'll look forward to seeing you all next week.
Perfect. Absolutely. See you later, guys.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
See you later. Bye.